We are in the very steep portion of the parabolic trend. This means that volatility is likely up and down. There's a difference between short-term and long-term direction. In the short term, you can see all kinds of swings, but the prevailing trend is up. And in this video, we're going to be discussing the psychology of the market, the emotional feedback loop that drives these cycles, discussing why everything above 69,000 is basically just a bubble. Now, a lot of people think that the word bubble is just this terrible word that means we're going to go down. It's actually the opposite. The word bubble means bubble up, bubbling. So we are back at that time of the cycle where Bitcoin is less than 10% away from its all-time high. So if you've made it this far, give yourself a pat on the back. Let's go. Before we go further, I just want to mention that in this upcoming cycle, it's important to operate on an exchange that you trust. And Kraken, this is Kraken Pro, has been around since 2011, guys. I'll say that again, 2011. You know, there's been a lot of exchanges collapsing and all these things over the years. Kraken has survived. Click that link below and sign up today. Now, moving on to the Bitcoin chart. This is the weekly chart for Bitcoin. As you guys know, we've been discussing the potential of a parabolic trend since literally the beginning of 2023, and it has played out. Going back to the 4-hour chart, even if the Bitcoin's price were to come back and play out some sort of full pullback to 53,000, that is still a bullish move. That is still a higher low. We're just elevated into the clouds, and all of this volatility would change nothing about the trend. Going back to the daily chart, the parabolic trend, Bitcoin is sitting in the clouds right now, and even if the price was to do a little bit of a shakeout and just bounce around in this range, I mean, it doesn't even matter. It's still a parabolic trend. It's still bullish. It's going to be very difficult for the bears to knock this out of the trend. It's going to take a lot of effort to fight against the high levels of demand that we currently have for crypto. And something I said on Twitter today was that yesterday, Coinbase had a traffic surge / glitch. And I got my first phone call from an IRL friend, and a friend in real life called me yesterday. Retail is returning. When retail first returns to the market, it is bullish and the price usually goes up. When all of retail has returned, the market is maxed out. That's near the top. Time is on our side because the way that this works, the way that the market psychology works, guys, and this is super, super important to understand. A lot of people have this notion that the moment retail returns, it's over. And that is the dumbest thing ever. That is not true, because when retail's coming back, it usually causes a market surge. There's a lot of money coming in, the crowd is flooding, the prices are still undervalued, and the prices are able to rise exponentially, parabolically. Now, we're only at the beginning stage of retail returning to this market. And so let's just draw out a theoretical scenario here. I don't want you guys to take what I'm about to draw on the chart as some sort of, crystal ball. I'm just going to draw something here. There are multiple levels of emotional feedback in the market. This is group one. If you bought Bitcoin below 25,000, give yourself a round of applause, because I would consider you to be group one, first in this cycle. The next crowd is right above that. That is where we ranged from, March to October and did almost nothing. Group three buys going into the ETF, and now they are also up and we're near the all-time high. Right now we have group four stepping in, and group four is likely going to be somewhere around this range. So group four is retail. And what this is it's called emotional feedback. It is a technical term for market psychology. Group one, when they get in and they're up in a profit, they start to get really loud on social media. They're making noise, posts, telling their friends. As group two does the same, they're up, loud, in a profit on social media, telling their friends. The same thing happens with group three. They're up, loud. There's an amplification of the crowd. Emotional feedback drives these parabolic trends. And then we have group four, which we are now at right now. This is the retail group, the beginning of the bubble. It's not a bad thing. It's actually what every single Bitcoin market has been for all of history. So please understand what I'm saying. It's not a bad thing. I mean, this is pretty much how you make money in markets. All of this emotional feedback and this amplification of the crowd, the noise, that's what drives the overvaluation of the market. And that's how people make money, because guess what? Some people win and then others up here lose. People have to lose for you to win. And that's what a bubble is for. It just means you got to be careful when the crowd gets fully invested, when the crowd is most bullish. And I'll explain why. You gotta ask yourself, why is the crowd always wrong? So group 4 is retail, and everything that comes after this is sort of a continuation of that, where all the latecomers pile into the market. And once they are all fully invested, they will be the most bullish. When the crowd is fully invested, that is when the market peaks because it can't go up. Everybody is fully invested. The crowd is loudest and most bullish when they are fully invested. That's the peak. Can't go up anymore. Everyone's in. The crowd is fully invested at the top. That's how the price got there. And the reason why the crowd is the most bearish at the bottom is because everyone is least invested at the bottom. That's how the price got there. Now, this may seem obvious, but I don't think people really understand it because it shows time and time again. And so that's how the psychology of the market works. And smart money, the bigger players know this, and they will begin to distribute for cash. They will take their profits right into this retail pump that'll likely take place over the next entire full year, maybe even a year and a half, going into the second half of 2025. And then a year and a half from now, the bear comes in, and it always comes back. The bear will always show up at some point. People are already getting fooled back into the idea of a super cycle and all these things. So this is kind of what I expect. This is sort of the psychology that repeats every single cycle. Every single time. And I hope you guys understand now why the crowd is bullish at the top. Now, switching gears to the altcoin market. The altcoin market here is showing a really, really nice setup on the weekly chart, the weekly RSI for the total 3. The total 3 is the market cap of all altcoins, and this excludes Bitcoin and Ethereum. And so we are in the very same setup that we were in the last cycle here. We have the RSI that broke 70. The price is trending up during that RSI breakout. RSI breaks 70. The price is trending up during the RSI breakout before it goes parabolic. And then we have the second push up on the RSI to a slightly higher high on the RSI. Right now, slightly higher high on the RSI, same type of pattern. Then we have a slight correction, and then we punch into the biggest part of the altcoin market bull trend. And so in theory, in the last cycle, we were at the second highest high on the RSI, which is about 8 weeks away from the altcoin bull market, where the trend line goes from just a straight normal trend line to then parabolic. Parabolic shift takes place after those 8 weeks from here. And so that's where we are currently gearing up for that parabolic shift in the altcoins and likely going to see a major surge. We are currently in everything season. I was just mentioning this on Twitter. Everything season, the crypto market refers to a period where the vast majority of top coins experience a significant surge in value, leading to widespread enthusiasm. If you go to the CoinGecko chart, you can see the top altcoins right now are meme coins, Bonk, Dogecoin, Shiba. The memes are starting to move, which is a sign of retail's return as well. The first major pump for Dogecoin is usually the start of the bull market. Now, by the way, guys, in my Patreon Discord in November, we were discussing this Dogecoin setup way ahead of time. We took the textbook setup, looked at Dogecoin on the weekly chart, and we started setting targets for 10 cents, almost 13 cents. You know, all these targets on the way up. And if you look at the Dogecoin chart and you look at our setup from the Patreon Discord, it is perfectly playing out exactly as depicted here, guys. The targets are being reached, the profit is being taken. On this channel, we mostly just talk about Bitcoin, but if you guys want those types of altcoin picks, setups, all that type of stuff, join the Patreon today. These are the lowest prices you're gonna get. We've had a lot of people joining recently, and I like to limit the amount of people that come in, so I'm going to raise the price, but you can lock in this price now by joining today. Get in the Patreon, join the community, get in the Discord, because that's where we're hanging out, guys. Everything's posted in the Discord. In the last cycle, we got into Polygon at 4 cents. So that's the kind of stuff that we do in Patreon. And I'll see you guys in the next video.